Hi everybody, I'm Barron, Fashion Director here at Net-a-Porter, and welcome to a new episode in our Style SOS series where we solve the season's fashion dilemmas. Today's dilemma is how to wear the pre-fall 25 looks now. And I'm going to do that by talking you through 3 of my favourite trends of the season, and I'm going to show you how to adopt them into your closet and also how to style them. We'll start with a little bit of preppy heritage, then go through into the boho revival that's not going anywhere, and then finally I'm going to show you the most beautiful dresses that are perfect for pre-fall but also great to wear now. So let's start with a little bit of heritage. And for me, like most things, this starts with Saint Laurent, because nobody does this trend quite like Anthony Vaccarello at Saint Laurent. He does the best checks and also the best silhouettes. This leads into Preppy, but by way of the coolest French women from the 1960s. Let's start with my look, and nothing makes me happier than saying, today I'm dressed in full Saint Laurent. And today I am dressed in full Saint Laurent. Let's start with the shorts. And I have to admit that you might not see me in these if they weren't Saint Laurent. As soon as I tried them on, the weight of the fabric, the fit of them, they're incredibly comfortable, and I do know that I will spend my pre-fall into winter wearing these shorts. And the trick with Saint Laurent always is to take something that might be slightly unusual and then sex it up a bit, which is where the accessories come in. And these boots are the softest leather I think I have ever worn. They are incredibly high, but they don't feel as high, and they're really comfortable because the leather kind of holds you together, but is really comfortable. And then I've just paired it with a very simple Saint Laurent polo t-shirt, which you will see a lot of through this segment and a lot of on store this season too. And then of course, the piece that you always forget, but you must invest in, which is the excellent belt. And of course, no look is complete without a perfect little Saint Laurent bag. And I do think with the preppy look, the silhouette, it is about the power of accessories, because everything else should be kept quite simple and quite refined. Of course, if you want to do the preppy trend a little bit more literally, maybe without a very high heel, then I would encourage you to try a pair of classic loafers. You can't get more classic, obviously, than a pair of Gucci loafers. These are the most butter soft leather I've ever felt. They feel incredible. And while I am definitely somebody who would wear heels with this, because otherwise I do look a little bit like a camp master, I do encourage you to try. But the main hero of this trend, and one that's probably quite easy to invest in, or you already have it in your closet, is the polo shirt. I do love a polo shirt, and I can't believe how much I actually speak about them now and actually hunt for the perfect one, which I found today. I love this knitted one by Marnie, just with the little pocket patch. It's kind of short, but then if you wear high-waisted trousers, like these ones from Loewe, and I love the colour combination of the two. And this is one that's maybe slightly more heavyweight for when we get further into pre-fall, which starts to land on site from July, and then obviously runs through to the end of the year. Or of course you can do something a little bit more feminine, and I love this pink from Loewe, which you'll see a little bit more of later in the episode. And I do like the idea of pairing it with a pencil skirt. Pencil skirts do, again, fit significantly into this trend because it is all about those kind of refined shapes. And there's something quite youthful as well about pairing it with the polo shirt, and it feels unexpected too. And as I was saying earlier, I do think this trend benefits from some unexpected accessories, which is why I love the idea of these pointed little kitten heel Jill Sanders shoes, which add a sexiness to the strictness of the Loewe polo shirt. The other item to invest in this trend as well, which you can wear again and again with anything, is the simple blouson jacket. Again, this is Saint Laurent, but I swear that's because they have led this trend this season, but there are plenty more on site to choose from. This is the puzzle biker bag by Loewe, which is a new style this season. When you've got a look that feels a little bit more preppy, it's nice to add in an accessory that feels a little bit more contemporary. Our second trend today is the 70s revival, which you may have heard me bang on about for the last couple of seasons, but that's because it's one to pay attention to and it's not going anywhere. Some people do call it the boho revival, but you don't have to do 70s in a boho way. You can do it in a lot of more subtle ways, and it can come down to just colour or texture. If you wanted burgundy to maybe be exiting the season, I'm afraid that's not the case, which is a good thing, because if you haven't tried burgundy, I do encourage it because it does really work with every skin tone. I love this look because it feels like adopting a little bit of 70s, but it still feels very much in my world, and I don't feel like I'm in dress up. This amazing piece is by Chloé. And there's a lot of leather around for pre-fall, and there's even more around for fall-winter. So if you're buying into it and investing into it now, it's something that will last you for years and years. I love the fact I can wear this now when it's a little bit warmer with nothing underneath. It does everything it needs to because the structure of it, the pockets, everything. And I've paired it with a pair of blue jeans. Of course I have. I pair jeans with everything. And these are Agolde. And again, Agolde are my go-to jeans. So there are other amazing brands on site, including some Loewe and Gucci and Kate. But I love this color. It leans into the 70s trend, but still feels very contemporary. And then finally, I have just paired these with, and these are actually my own shoes, but they are on site now. These are Laurent mules, and they've actually got a very kind of high needle stiletto, but I wore these to a wedding and I danced in them all night and they were incredibly comfortable. I love the fact of just pairing the burgundy shoes with the burgundy top. This might not look that 70s to you, but all it takes is one accessory and it'll turn this into a boho princess, or as close to a boho princess as I'd ever want to be. All you need is a tassel. This is by Isabel Marant, who obviously is the queen of Parisian boho. Really brilliant, actually very practical bag as well. And even if you're just wearing a white t-shirt, blue jeans, and a pair of flip-flops, this immediately talks to the trend without it going too far. And of course, if you are not a stiletto girl and you really want to properly lean into the trend, then the platform wedge sandal is back. These are actually great because they give you the extra height and they're actually much more comfortable. These are by Gianvito Rossi, and I love these. I actually wanted to wear these today, but I think they look better with like a very kind of wide leg, dare I say, flare jean, also back, or a mini and just get your legs out, especially when it's a bit warmer before we get into true pre-fall. Of course, Chloé always does lead the 70s trend, and I can't talk to this without looking at boho blouses. And even if you think you aren't a bohemian blouse girl, I do suggest that you try one of these. Something more traditional, just in the white cotton. Beautiful, I mean, so pretty, an actual piece of art. And then if you just pair it with a pair of blue jeans, it becomes really easy to wear, and actually something really beautiful for a summer evening. And just pair a little camisole underneath or just a bra. Then for something a little bit more seductive, we have it in black, which is quite transparent, feels more evening-y. Again, great with a pair of blue jeans, but also great with leather too, if you add some leather pants to it. And again, I would say, of course you can wear a camisole underneath it if you want to be a little bit more modest, but it does look really great just with a bra. If you do dare to bear, then I suggest you do. And as I said, a little does go a long way when it comes to boho. So this is a beautiful leather jacket, which is exclusive to Net-a-Porter by Noor Hammour, who does the most amazing leather and suede pieces. And I love the color of this, kind of moving slightly away from burgundy, but into that oxblood world. Again, fits in the 70s revival, but then you can just wear it with anything you have and it feels very modern. And of course, pairing it with a pair of jeans. These jeans are by Loewe, who also make a great jean, so please do try them. But this is the power of accessories when it comes to the 70s. So all you need is that buckle. And then I want to finish on two accessories, which is the easiest way to actually buy into this trend. The return of massive jingle jangle bangles. This is by Dinosaur Designs, and this is a single, but they also sell pairs, so you actually have that kind of jingle jangle feel and sound when you're wearing them. But of course, there's a one piece that when you put it on, makes it look like you know exactly what you're talking about and know exactly what's in style for the season. And those are these Tom Ford sunglasses. All you need are a bit of a golden lens, and you could be wearing anything with these and it immediately feels like it's 70s. And finally, this is less of a trend and more about the perfect piece for the season. This is the perfect dress, ideally in a pastel as well. Now, I hate to buy something and then have to wait for the weather to wear it. And I think when you are buying pre-fall, you do have to think buy now, wear now. And it's on site from July, and then it runs to September, October. So you do want to get the enjoyment out of the pieces that you buy and put it on immediately. Well, if you're anything like me, I have to have the immediate satisfaction as soon as I open something new. These dresses are perfect for holidays now, if you're lucky enough to go on one, or they're perfect for events and weddings later in the year too. They should be pieces that you want to reach for all the time that just make you feel incredible. Now, I never thought I would be standing in front of you in a pastel pink dress, but this is what Victoria Beckham has made me do. I absolutely absolutely love this dress. It's actually now my second pastel pink item of clothing that I have. It makes me want to sway, and I do think if you get a dress that makes you want to dance, you need to buy it. But I love the fact that there's just this trim of red down the edge of it with the ruching at the waist, so it kind of gives you more of an hourglass figure. So I've just taken the red trim and then matched it to a pair of shoes by Neos. And not with a high heel either. These are actually a kitten heel, but because of the length of this dress, I feel I don't need all of the additional height. And then when I'm wearing a pale color, especially a pastel shade, I do prefer to match it with silver jewelry. This is by Lay Studios, and my earrings are by Bottega, because I feel it feels a little bit more contemporary, a bit fresher than gold. And with this trend, I'm going to talk about the power of two. The two being the dress one and shoes two. So as much as I do love the fact I played with the red of the shoes with the red on the dress, you also can go with something very simple with these Victoria Beckham black sandals that are not going to swallow your feet. They're still very delicate, so I don't think you want anything too heavy when you're wearing such a pale, beautiful colour. I also love this ice blue Proenza dress. I love it that's asymmetrical, which is a bit of a theme in these dresses this season. Again, it feels a little bit more surprising, but it holds your body in such an incredible and flattering way. If you are wearing a very pale dress to a wedding, please make sure that it doesn't photograph as white, because it may look like you're trying to upstage the bride. And when it comes to shoes, don't go for your normal neutrals. Try something a little bit different, like this olive green suede Manolo Blahnik pump, which I think actually works perfectly with the contrast of this Proenza dress. But if you remain unconvinced that pastel dresses are for you, then fine, I will let you wear a block colour instead. Something a little bit darker, but I would recommend that you do go for a colour and stay away from black for pre-fall. I love this shade of green, and I love the shape of this dress too by Loewe, and the fact that they've also accessorised it with a little bit of a silver clip. And then again, don't go for your neutral colours. And bringing it back to burgundy, I am hammering this home. You cannot escape burgundy this year, even if you just play with it in accessories. And I do love the Loewe burgundy with that green dress. Again, it just feels a little bit different, and it stays away from black shoes. Well, I hope that solved your fashion dilemma. Thank you so much for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode of Style SOS.